we've got, I'm going to use yellow. You can use red if you want to, but yellow is the lighter colour, so it's probably the best one to do today. Just because it's your first class and stuff. And yeah, what have you got there? I'm not sure. These look very stiff, don't they? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm not going to be with that one or that one. Right, that's more like, yeah, light. What does that say? Does that say medium? Yeah, so that's probably a bit more than the red, and that's more like the yellow. So my red is like that blue one, I would say. And you can use whichever one you feel that you want to. Do you want absolutely one I've got? Right, that's quite stiff. So that's too stiff, I would say. Yeah. So let me dig it and see if I've got a yellow that you can use. If not, you can use this one. Or I can cut. That's the problem, is that my bands were getting a bit. Do they get slack? Yeah, well, no, they do get. The old ones that were latex free used to just go on and on and on and on forever, but the latex free ones are just not quite so good, and they just aren't so user friendly really. So there you go. There's that one. We give them that in class and somebody snaps one. Sorry? Oh, we give that in class and somebody snaps one. Yeah. Did that happen here? Yeah. Yes. And it's the non-latex ones that. So I bought a new one. I bought a new roll, so I've got plenty to go around. It's in the car at the moment. But everybody's. Are you happy with red? Yeah. And you're not going to use one. Good. Right. Okie dokie. So we're going to start. Have you done Pilates before? Ish. Okay. We exercise without shoes on.
I've got a pin in one of my toes, which means if I try and bend it, it doesn't like it without the training on.
Without training on,
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise. It's absolutely fine. And I do have somebody that does use, but you might find that you just decide you're not going to do anything with heel raise, because we do heel raise, but there's several people with a similar issue in this class, so it might be that what I do is just not do it, and then it's much easier to exercise without anything on your feet. But you can take them off when you go onto the floor anyway, issues if you wish. Okay, so we're going to take the toes out to the side, and we're going to come up on the heels and swivel the feet so that the feet are underneath the hips, and we're going to find first of all our neutral spine. So we just introduced Julie to the concept. So we're going to just tuck our tailbone under and away. So we're in a C shape and then Donald Duck. Okay, neutral's in the middle of those two extremes. So if you find your neutral spine, and we're going to have the knees slightly bent. So we've got feet hip distance apart, knees slightly bent, neutral spine, shoulder blades. So if you place your hands on your shoulders, and just feel the position of your shoulder blades going down towards your waistband. So that's the correct position. So we don't want those shoulders around your ears. And just have the chin pulled in slightly. Okay. And we're just going to place our hands underneath our tummy. And we're going to switch on our core. But we're going to focus on pelvic floor. So we're going to close the back passage as if we're trying to stop wind, and we're going to close the front passage as if we're trying to stop the flow from our bladder. And then we're going to press quite firmly against our tummy and feel what happens to your tummy when you relax your pelvic floor. I expect what you find is that your tummy just goes towards your hands, and that shows that when you switch on your pelvic floor, you're also switching on your abdominals. Okay, and that's all because of needing balance and stuff like that. So you can't really isolate pelvic floor from the rest of your core. Okay, so let's do that again, and we're going to go do 10 out of 10 effort. So we're going to close the back as tight as you can, front passage as tight as you can. Okay, and you're going to hold that for the next 3/4 of an hour. You couldn't do it, could you? Okay, and so we're going to relax. And this time we're going to close the back passage and just be aware that we can feel the back passage is closed. We're going to do the same at the front, and so we can just feel both of those muscle groups just working. So it's not really intense, we can just feel them switched on. Okay, and if you struggle with that concept, you'll find the more that you practice, the better that you get at it. But that's your 10 out of 10, that's your 3 out of 10, Julie. So you just can find that you can just feel it. And it might be that you can only feel the back passage. Some people find that they can only feel the front. Some people say, oh no, sorry, when I switch them on, they both come on together. There's not a problem with that either. All those muscles blend together, and if they switch on together, that's fine. But if you can only find that you're switching on one element, that doesn't matter. Focus on that, and the rest will come as you get stronger. Because a weak muscle group is slightly less sensitive, so you will find that initially it might be difficult, but you can switch it. You can find that it actually gets you get more aware of it. Right. Okay. So we're 3 out of 10 effort, everybody, aren't we? And we're going to take those arms up towards the ceiling, and we're going to reach up, keeping the core engaged. And we're going to bring those arms down, bend the knees, and let's take the arms back up again and reach and drop them forwards this time, bend the knees, keeping that core engaged. Okay, and we're going to circle one arm. We're not going to work too hard today, swap it over because it's a bit hot. Good job it's not tomorrow. And because it's going to be even hotter. And let's just take our bottom round in a circle. And then we're going to change direction. And we can do arms opposite to bottom. So if your bottom's down, get arms up forwards. And then when you get it, we're going to change direction just to confuse you more, keeping that core engaged while you move. And then you're going to take the arms down by your side. And we're just going to do a step tap, just step tap. So keeping your core engaged, just to increase that heart rate a little bit, warm up a little bit, not that we need to do an awful lot. And you can swing the arms at the same time, why not? And then we're going to kick forwards. And then we're going to take the leg behind. And it doesn't matter, it isn't Zumba, and it isn't aerobics, so it doesn't get any real faster or more complicated than this. Okay, and forwards for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Okay, and let's just march in the center, and we're going to bring our band down in front. And we're just going to put some resistance on the band and bring it in. So just opening and closing your arms, Jay. Just imagine you've got a resistance band. Okay, we're going to take the band and we're going to place it. So it's just around our bra strap. This is called a Cleopatra. I don't know why, but that's what the book calls it. So we engaged our core, 3 out of 10 effort. There you go, let me undo it. Because I've done this today already, so I don't need to do it again. Okay, so we've got the bands behind our back, and we're just going to straighten the arms and in. Straighten the arms. Yeah, if you do it sequel, you've got double resistance, haven't you? Yeah, you need to right. Because that'll be double resistance. How does it feel? Is that okay? Yeah. Want to risk it? Let's do the next level. There you go. Use that red one if you want red. Okay, we're going to get to, we must have done about 8. Let's double time. So we're going to go out and double time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The palms are upwards. So now we're going to turn them down. And we're going to straighten the arms and pull in. 2, 3, and 4. Let's hold it here, double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it in and repeat for 4. Keeping that core engaged all the time. 3 out of 10 effort. I keep forgetting to bring my water out of the car. Okay, so instead of being over the grass strap, this time we've got it over our elbows, and we're just going to imagine that we're hugging a tree. So this is called protraction, shoulder protraction. We take the arms round and come back. So you'll feel that the shoulder blades move apart as you take your arms round and back. And it's a big circle, so we're hugging that tree and coming back. This is because I live in Stroud, you see, so they're all tree huggers where I am. And here we go, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we do another 4, crossing edge. 1, and shoulder blades come back. 2, 3, 4 double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it back. And again, we're going to have that band in front. We're going to put some resistance on it. I'm going to follow the arms up just as far as is comfortable for you. And we're going to put some pressure on the band. We're going to bring the band behind and up. And then we're going to bring the band forwards and up. And again, opening that band as you come down and up, down. Okay, let's do 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, let's give those shoulders a shake. And now we're going to pop. Do you want your band back? I don't want mine to snap. If it snaps on me, it takes my eye out. That's one thing. I think that's a little bit stiffer than mine, isn't it? Maybe work it out. I've got another class after this, so I don't want to get too tired. Okay, elbows into the side, bicep curls. Thumbs pointing towards me. And we're just going to bend and straighten. So you can do this in sitting, Jane, if you want to. And we do triceps next, so you can do those in sitting as well. Okay, let's hold it here in double time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. Why not? Okay, and now we're going to turn the palms as if they're facing me. So this is called supination. And we're going to bend. So this is the hardest way to do bicep curls because the biceps do this movement and flex the elbow. And if you go down the gym, they never do it like this, but in actual fact, this is the best way to build up those biceps. And we'll get to this one, and then we'll double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take it down. And then we're going to turn the palms as if they're behind us. So this is pronation, and we're going to bend. And all that movement happens at the elbow. And keeping that core engaged. 3. We've got all these movements in. And 4. We're going to double time here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to relax it down. And now we're going to do triceps, which extends the elbow. So we're going to take the band behind the head. Watch your hair, guys. And we're going to straighten the arm and let it come back down again. Straighten the arm and let it come back down again. Okay, so that's the top arm. And this is number 4. So we're going to double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to do the underside arm. So we're going to pull it down. And of course, the closer your arms are when you start, the harder it is. And I think this is number 4. So we'll double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's do both together. 1, 2, 3, 4, double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now we're going to take it into the other hand. Do the same, start with the overhead. Is that all right, Sue? Yeah. So we can do it a different way if you want to. Up, 2, 3, 4, double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're doing the lower one. 1, 2, 3, 4, double time. Okay, now both together. 2, 3, 4, double time. Okay, bring it in. Give those arms a shake. Okay, you can do this one in sitting as well if you want to, Jane. So we're going to do some rotation through the spine. So you're going to imagine start your lawnmower, but in sitting. For the rest of us, we're going to start our lawnmower in standing. So we've got the band over the foot, and you're going to grasp the band around your knee, sort of level. Okay. And let's take the foot behind that hasn't got the band underneath it. And all we're going to do is just pull up and down. Pull up. And if you feel that's too easy, just make it a little bit harder by going closer to your foot with your hand. Okay, and we're going to double time for 4, 3, 2, 1. And here comes the rotation. So we're going to come up. And then we're going to rotate to the side, round to the side and back. So we're coming up and rotating. So we're using the obliques to go into rotation. So tummy muscles, keep that core engaged, of course. Deep abdominals going as well. I think this is 3, but it might be 4. But anyway, we'll do one more for luck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then swap over. Does that work okay? Sitting? Works okay. Just go, you don't have to go to full rotation, just the bit that just into where feels comfortable. Or just do the lifting the arms out the rotation. Just remember, Jane, you haven't done anything for a while, so maybe only do the first 4, or don't do the reps, double time. And here we go, double time, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we're going to add rotation. You sit still. Got to tell her off. We have physios are bossy too.
I can confirm this.
Yes, I think most people in this room call them
physiotherapists.
I know. I have been that physio on the ward. 3, 4, and quite a while ago now though. I've been out of hospital for about 6 years, out of the NHS for many more than that. Okay, right, so give it all a shake, a nice stretch for the neck. So with your band really tight. Don't know whether this will, it'd be better, I don't know, yeah, it might work, nice and tight. Yeah, and all we do is lean. So what that should do, Jane, is stop your shoulder from coming up, so it gives you a nice deep stretch of the neck. So nice and tight with that band. So we're not working against resistance, but can you feel how that's a nice stretch on the neck? Everybody say yes, Sally? Yes. Good. We're alive. And over to the other side with that neck stretch. And the band is pulling the arm down so it doesn't lift up. And so it just increases the stretch because that the neck muscles are attached to the neck and to the shoulder. Back. Okay, we just drop the head forwards and round, keeping that core engaged, never forget an opportunity to engage the core. Okay, we'll do a little bit with the band around the knees. Okay, so the lower the band is, the harder you're working. And if you want to go for so this is great. See now, this is where you can step into your bands. This is where it comes to the bones. That's why I don't buy these, because they're just not quite so versatile as the bands. I've got to try and be all things to all men, you see. Right, so we've got knees slightly apart. We're just going to do some squats. So if you want to stand up and hold the chair, just as motion, or you can sit this one out. Don't feel, Okay, so core's engaged, and we're going to just do a squat. Remember, we don't drop our knees forwards. We make like we're going to sit on the loo, and we take our bottom back and behind. 1, back and behind. 2, core's engaged. 3, we're going to hold it here. We're going to sit down and hold for 4. Let's pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, and come back again. Okay, and again, another 4. So that bottom goes out and behind and up, and you just go as low as is comfortable. So if you wanted to, Jane, you could literally just be doing that. Well, actually, just want to take the bottom out, just if you've got a touch of what I suggested you didn't do. Okay, so it doesn't matter that you don't go like down here, but you're still activating quads and hamstrings. So, right, if you remember last week we did squat, and then we took the leg out to the side. Can you remember? James, you're in already. Okay, oh my God, do that again. Okay, so we're going to squat and take the leg out to the side, and again, squat, quads engage, leg out to the side, 2, leg out to the side, 4, 3, squat, leg out to the side, 4. We're going to hold it here, and let's lift it off the floor if you can and pulse for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, bring it in, and we're going to do the other side. Bottom out and squat just as low as is comfortable for you. But remember that you're engaging your core all the way through. This next one, if you want to, you can hold the leg out and pulse for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bring it back in again. Give those legs a shake. I'm going to take the band up a bit. We're going to do some lunging. So again, Jane, you can just be like that. Okay. So, quads engaged, guys. We're going to go from a stand to a lunge. Okay, and stand. And lunge, 2, and 3, and 4. Let's hold it here. Sorry, my fault. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. And we'll swap it over. And we'll lunge 1. There's some bicep curls, something to do with the arms. 2, 3, and 4 double time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Curtsy lunge. So curtsy lunge is where we're going to go right across. Okay, but just as far and as low as you come. Is it touching up the blood supply? No. Goes again. So we're just going to take it into our curtsy lunge and back. Curtsy lunge. You can try it below the knee. It just feels like it's getting. I think when I do it below the knee, it's just a little bit harder to control the band more than anything. Okay, well, double time. This is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's take the arms up. 1, 2, 3. And that for you, Jane, can just be a little step behind. Just like that. And double time. Sue's on it. Good job you're in front, Sue. Keep them in order. Give it all a shake. Okay, well done. Let's undo our band. And we'll pop it on our mat because we're going to need it later when we get down on the floor, but we're going to finish with a bit of balance. If you need to use the wall to help you, that's fine, or if you've got a chair, that's fine. So we're just going to float one leg up, and you can either pop that leg on your foot, or if you feel more comfortable with it up on your knee, you can do, but don't slouch into the hip. Pause engaged, and then we'll go 4 seconds in each position. So 1, 2, Jane, if you don't like that with the app, just do one foot in front of the other if you want, or slightly out, still balance, and it's harder on that. Prayer position. Sorry, I'll keep speaking to you.
Yeah, I would learn how to do stuff again.
And then 4 in our temple pose. And then we'll come back, or should have done 8 then, never mind. And then we come back to prayer position for 4. And then arms out in crucifix position for 4. Now, don't put your foot down yet. Hands are going to go on the hip, and the knee's going to come up in front. And then you can put the foot down. Okay, give that standing leg a shake. That's such a good exercise. Balance and quads. Quads engaged. We're going to do the other side now. So we're just going to float the leg up. And place the foot where you feel comfortable. Shoulder blades down, try not to get them to creep up towards your ears. Arms out. And then we're going to prayer position, shoulder blades down. And temple pose, shoulder blades down. And then back, prayer position. And so now bizarrely, it's probably more difficult for you with shoes on because we can feel the floor. So, but if it's going to be painful, obviously, well, no, absolutely, there's no pressure to do that. But when you're getting cross with yourself and watching other people, then that might be a reason why. But you get like anything, if you practice, you get good at it. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. So bad habits and good habits. Right. Let's stretch then. So if you go by the wall, because it's important that when we do our quad stretch, that we're balanced, because we've done our balance, we now want to stretch. So we don't want to lose the quality of the stretch because we're struggling to balance. So you bring your foot up towards your bottom and tuck your tailbone under and feel the stretch down the front of the thigh. And try to keep your shoulders up, try not to lean forwards because that will intensify the stretch if you're upright. Okay, and then you can swap and do the same on the other side. How's that, Jane? Start to do that. You think good? Do you like, okay, like that? Yeah. So that's a nice stretch. So that's your femoral nerve. So if you wanted to, you could do that as an exercise and you can in the morning. That'll help to release, so you can have a shower, get warm, and just go on and off your stretch, like we do with the sciatic nerve later on. Okay, release that off then, guys. And we've got a calf stretch. So we're going to lean against the wall, we're going to take 1 foot forwards, and we're going to look at the back foot. Now they are both feet are going to be facing 12 on the clock. Okay, they don't have to be directly in front of each other, they can be parallel, but the back foot definitely wants to be facing north. If that makes sense. I haven't mixed my metaphors. And you lean forwards, the back heel is into the floor, and the back knee is straight, and you should feel the stretch in the calf. Okay, swap it over, and do the same on the other side. What's going on here? Come on here. I'm not talking to you. Come on. Okay, and release off. Okie dokie. Let's go down onto the mat. So we can go down on the mat and we roll down 1 bone at a time. So if you start with your mat in front of you, feet hip distance apart, core engaged. And we're going to drop chin to chest and just enjoy that stretch. Roll down 1 bone at a time. Jane, just do what's comfortable, so you might only get to your shoulders, that's fine, because we're going to build on it as the weeks move on, going down. And you wag your tail when you get to the bottom. If you want to touch the floor and you can't, you can bend your knees. I don't mind. And then we're going to roll back up again, 1 bone at a time. Now, I'm really rubbish at this, so don't, if you get the video, don't critique me doing this, because my back doesn't really talk really. I know that's really rubbish. Okay, so we roll up 1 bone at a time, and then we go back down, rolling down, 1 bone at a time, all the way down. And when we get down, we're going to wag the tail again, and then we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to end up on all fours. So Jay, you might prefer a cat stretch rather than baby pose. So let's do both. So we're going to do a quick cat stretch. So all fours, and we've got chin to chest. I'm going to push through the shoulders, tuck the tailbone under. and you can wag your tail. That's a cat stretch. If you want, those of you who want to try baby pose, so you can flatten out the spine, head comes back up. If you want to do baby pose, we pop our bottom onto our heels and we take the arms forward. And we stretch that way. So you can do whichever one you feel is most comfortable for you. As you see, we can move things and change things around so that we can make it comfortable for you. Okay. Right. So we're going to come back up onto all fours and we're going to do swimming today. Now, if you want to, let's not do against resistance. Okay. So the important thing with swimming is that we're in neutral spine. So let's just sort out our neutral spine. So we're going to let the tummy button drop towards the mat. And then we're going to do our cat stretch and push up towards the ceiling. A neutral spine is in the middle of those two extremes, and it's the low back that we're looking at, okay? And that's going to be different for everybody. So if you look at your neighbour, it might be a slightly different position. And I want that to be pain-free as well. So it might mean that you have to sneak a little bit in one direction or the other to get yourself pain-free. And I want you to keep your back in that position while you do this next exercise. So core engaged, and we're going to slide one leg away, and we're going to squeeze the bum, and we're going to lift that straight leg up. Now what you'll see on YouTube is people lift up and the back arches. Okay, well they're not doing Pilates properly because the whole principle is that we keep the spine in neutral. So you're just going to lift that leg until you feel that the hip comes to end range. So you're thinking tailbone tucked under, won't be half as far as you think it should be, but you're using your glutes to do it, not your back muscles. Let's bring that back in again. Core engaged, 3 out of 10 efforts. Hopefully you haven't forgotten that core. Squeeze the glutes, lift the leg up behind, and then come back again. Remember, you can make it slightly harder. You want to challenge the balance a little bit more. Squeeze the glutes, lift the leg, and you can lift the opposite arm to make it slightly more challenging, and then slowly back down again. Okay, one more. Okay, so just sliding away, that's it. And so what you're trying to do is there. So always feel it and bring it back in again. And we're going to swap sides now. So you set your neutral. And so what you're looking to do is just slide that leg out so that it's straight. Squeeze the glutes and lift. Anything else, if I lift any higher, that's now my back muscles, my paraspinals, and maybe a bit of quadratus lumborum. Okay, so it's going to be round, 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 round. There. So it's much lower than you think. And bring it back in. Can you see how you're keeping everything straight? Yeah, it's not as far as you think. Okay, baby pose stretch when you're finished. So we're going to use that principle of staying in your neutral spine through the whole exercise, and we're now going to do dog pee. So we're going to engage the core, squeeze the glutes, and you're just going to lift the leg out to the side. Then bring it back. And again, core engage, squeeze, and lift. Bringing it back. Okay, 4 on each side. We're keeping that spine nice and still. Resist that temptation to lean on that balancing leg and twist through the low back. It's never as far as you think it is. I think it's, but you'll feel that actually the quality of the glutes switch on is greater because it's the only muscle group really that you're using. Okay. All right, and let's do baby pose to finish. And we're going to grab our resistance band and we're going to come up to the end of the mat. Jane, I don't think you're going to like this, because we are going to roll down. And I think you might, but you can try a little bit of.
I tend to go getting in and out of bed on that side.
Yeah, okay. But you might find that because that's going to be a big stretch on all the nerves. So we're just going to do some abdominals. So if you want to do them in lying, and that'll keep you in neutral all the way through. Yeah. And just do a head and shoulder lift, just as much as feel comfortable for you to support your head. Okay. Right. So we're up nice and tall, core is engaged, and all you're going to do is off those sitting bones, you're just going to fall off the sitting bones, so those are the big bones through your bottom, and you're going to bring your shoulders towards your knees, and then you're going to come back up into sitting. So it stops us from hinging at one level. So we're just going to bring the shoulders to the knees and come back up. And this time we're going to roll down a little bit. So we're going to bring the shoulders towards the knees, and we're going to carry that on down and lower down. And then we're going to reach forwards. Imagine somebody's pulling you up into sitting again. So we're going to drop it down and roll down. Lean forwards and come back up again. So typically people try and hinge. Can you see that's kind of like hinging at one level? But what we're trying to do is kind of like roll it down one bone at a time. Still have to use your abs because you're not going right down. And all the way back up again. Up onto those sitting bones. Now, if you want to do some obliques, you can do some obliques, which means we've got to do some rotation. So we're just going to open the band and go to the side. Bring it back, come back up into sitting. Shoulders down, don't do anything that you feel uncomfortable doing. Straighten the arms, back, reach forwards and up. And you don't need to use a band. We'll do 4 on each side. Of course, you can do all of these exercises without a band if you want to do it without a band. If you feel that resistance is too much. Okay, can't see what's happening around here. And we're going to go to the other side this time. So we've done 4. And now we're going to go to the other side, which is going to look like the same side as I've done. Side from that. And up. So it's just going down one bone at a time. And I've done 4, but if you wanted to just do 2, that's fine. You want to carry on and do 6, that's fine. Okay, and with that last one, we're going to go all the way down. I'm going to straighten my legs because I'm a shorty and I need that extra bit of weight at the bottom to stop me from going down in one big bump. Okay. So we've got band, we're going to place the band around one leg. And we're going to come into tabletop. So that's knee over hip. And we can have the band either side. So we've got it in our hands. And from tabletop, we're just simply going to straighten the leg and bring it back to tabletop. Relax through the shoulders, straighten the leg, and back in. So we're pushing against some resistance. Back it in again. So you'll be glad, Jane, that you've used your red band, not your yellow one, because it makes it easy. And now we're going to straighten that leg out, and we're going to work against resistance. We're going to stay in neutral, of course engaged, but we're going to lower the leg down. It's not going to touch the floor. And then we're going to allow that leg to float back up again to that start position. Pause engaged, so the leg's out straight. We're going to lower it down and bring it back up again. Okay, so I want 4 of those. So we've got number 2 to go. So just keeping the leg straight and lower it down, bring it straight. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. Okay, is it comfortable? Yeah. 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 Yeah, well done. Yeah, I thought you've done well today. More than I thought you'd want to do too. Okay, swap it over, do the same on the other side. So you're floating up into tabletop, and from your tabletop position, you're just straightening the leg, bringing it back to tabletop. Straighten the leg, bring it back to tabletop 4 times. And then your straight leg is your start position, and then you're going to lower down and lift up before. You're right there, yeah, it hasn't broken, has it? No, it just dropped now. You. I think I've got 10 million public liability, so and it is current because I've only there's a bit of roaring with physios. A lot of my colleagues didn't renew. There's a bit of a cock up, and they thought they'd renewed and they hadn't. So people had to stop work and all sorts while their paperwork was sorted. But mine went through okay, so you're all right. So if I injure you, you're okay. I am covered. Okay, when you're done, bring those knees in towards your chest, give it a hug. And let's just take those knees around in a circle. Change direction. Okay, place one foot down and the other foot down. And we're just going to do knee rolling. So we're just going to take the knees side to side as you feel comfortable. And then we're going to do hip twist. So we're going to have the hands up towards the ceiling and we're going to drop the knees down to the side as far as is comfortable for you. And then take the hands to the opposite side. So that's a nice stretch for the spine. And take the hands up, unwind, drop the knees to the side, and then so we've swapped position. And take those hands back up again. And we're going to do some stretches. So we're going to take the band, place the band around your foot. So we're going to do a hamstring stretch. And you're going to use the band to pull your leg towards the floor overhead. And we want to feel a stretch in the hamstring, which is above the knee. Okay, we don't want pins and needles, we don't want any altered sensation, and we don't want any pain elsewhere. Okay, if you are getting discomfort elsewhere, you're going to go on and off with the stretch, which means you bend and straighten the leg, bend and straighten the leg. And what you're trying to do here is slide and glide the nerve. If you hold, you're trying to stretch the hamstring. So you're actually doing 2 different things depending on your symptoms, okay? Or depending on what happens. You can increase the stretch by sliding the other leg away, which you don't want to do if you're going on and off with the stretch. Okay, and then you can release it off. And now this shouldn't influence the sciatic nerve at all. You can just let your leg fall to the side. And you're looking to have a stretch of the inner thigh here. And if you're quite mobile and you want to increase that stretch, you push the leg down towards the floor and bring it up towards your ear. And the aim is by Christmas to have your big toe at your center parting. Oh dear, I've mentioned the C word. Okay, and the leg comes up. And we're going to do the same but on the other side. So, can we stretch the hamstring or do we have to mobilize the sciatic nerve? Well, let's have a look. We're going to bring the leg up and overhead. Are we just getting a stretch in the hamstring? Yep, if that's the case, we can hold the stretch. If we're getting discomfort elsewhere, we don't want to irritate the sciatic nerve because that's sciatica, so we're just going to straighten and bend the leg. If you want to increase the stretch in the hamstring, you can extend the opposite leg. So you just do whatever however you respond will depend on how you do the stretch. Okay, release it off. Whether you're stretching or mobilizing the nerve, it will always feel better after you've had a bath or a shower. So if you want to do these stretches in the morning after you've had your bath and shower, then that's when you get the most benefit from them. But we don't have that luxury here in Pilates. Okay, now just let the leg fall to the side. And again, you can press that leg down to the side. And then release it off. And then we're going to do glute stretch. So glutes. We're going to take one leg up towards the ceiling. We're going to bend this knee, place it on the opposite knee. And then we're going to bring that opposite knee up towards us. There's lots of ways you can stretch the glutes, of course. So if you've got another stretch that you prefer to do, that's fine. If you're not getting a deep enough stretch, the knee that's closest to you, you can push that away. And that will give you, hopefully, a stretch in your buttock. Okay, swap it over. Do the same on the other side. Are you familiar with this stretch, Julie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Yeah, so that's giving you a deeper stretch. And if you put your hand on that knee and push that knee away, you find that deepens it even more. There's loads of ways to stretch hamstring. You could try on that with the ball, Jane. With your legs on the ball. You can roll backwards and forwards. I'll bring the ball next time. Oh, you prefer it that way?
Yeah, I don't think
Right, okay, that's fine. Right, okay. So now I'm going to roll over onto all fours. Chin to chest, push through the shoulders, tuck your tailbone under, tuck the toes under, walk your hands towards your knees. Bend at the elbows and push your weight onto your feet. Walk yourself up to your knees. I'm going to mobilize the mid-back. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to place it on my left knee. And I'm going to bring my right shoulder round towards my left knee and just rotate round to mobilize the mid-back. You can take your free hand up towards the ceiling to deepen that stretch. It's a difficult bit to stretch this. And we're going to swap it over to the other side. I really like this stretch because it's so difficult to stretch the mid-back. It's so well protected by our ribs. Okay, so we're going to come back down and roll up into standing. One bone at a time. And I'm going to try and do that. I have to say, I'm very pants at it there. I couldn't believe it when I looked back at the video. Rubbish at that. We've all got a different skill set. Okay, so we've got those feet together, core still engaged, yes? Hopefully, 3 out of 10 effort. And we're going to take those arms up. Those of you who are happy up on your toes, you can come up on your toes. And then we're going to lower the heels, bend the knees, drop the arms forwards. Those of you who are happy on your toes, up you go again. Lower the heels, bend the knees, drop the arms to the side. Take the arms up. I'm going to take one out to the side, we're going to take the other one out to the side because we always finish Pilates with jazz hands. Jazz hands. The jazz legs. We can do jazz. Thank you. Okie dokie. So it's we're so